Welcome to the Ramble Jiu-Jitsu podcast. It's me, your host, Professor Daniel. I used to be Coach Daniel. Last episode of this show, my name was Coach Daniel, but now my name is Professor Daniel. I got my black belt from my coaches, world champions, Professor Gustavo Fonseca and Professor Alexis Fonseca. I got my black belt from them not last Saturday, but the Saturday before. Busy week of jiu-jitsu. After training for 10 years, I finally received my black belt degree, graduated. Super awesome day. My coaches came to visit my school. It was the two-year anniversary of Ramble Jiu-Jitsu. So right now I'm just driving home from 6 a.m. That's why I'm drinking from my water bottle. I'm driving in my car home. Again, guys, I'm so busy. I'm sorry I haven't had an episode in a while, but I'm so busy. I only have time to record on my way from one work to another work, from jiu-jitsu work to my home life where I'm a dad, the hardest job in the world. So driving home now at 7:23. I just taught 6 a.m. and I just had the craziest jiu-jitsu week of my life. I got my black belt on Sunday. So sorry, I think I said Saturday. I meant to say Sunday, not this yesterday Sunday, last Sunday, June 5th, I think, June 4th or 5th. It's been a blur because the next day after that, I taught Jiu-Jitsu All-Star Summer Camp. So Jiu-Jitsu Summer Camp at Ramble Jiu-Jitsu. So I did a camp. It was 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. every day, Monday through Friday, with all these kids that were about to do this tournament jiu-jitsu battle. So we all trained. They trained 4 hours in the morning, and then most of them trained afternoon as well. So all of them were training somewhere between 4 and like 6, 7 hours a day. And they all did really good at the tournament. Okay, I can't guarantee people are going to win, but I can do everything I can as a coach to help them get ready. Everything I could do as a professor to help them get ready. And I think I did that. Last year we did pizza party on Friday of summer camp, but this year I cooked them a healthy meal. By I mean my wife, my beautiful wife, cooked steak and potatoes and rice and broccoli and carrots. Crazy. So I got my black belt. I taught summer camp. And then Saturday, huge tournament, jiu-jitsu battle. It was awesome. Very well-run event, very professional. A step up from some of the local competitions. I'm not going to hate on anyone. I know it's hard. And I'm thankful that people go out there and even run tournaments for all of our schools to compete in. What a buzz, that's for sure. Lots of adrenaline, coaching and competing and just spectating. I had kids do really well. A couple highlight submission wins with the Kanto choke. I had kids, definitely got a little nervous and maybe it wasn't the best example of their jiu-jitsu, but all good. You got to get that experience in. I had grown-ups compete. All of them did really well, and I'm really excited about our school. Our school just went up another level now, right? So I'm a black belt professor. Our students are competing at blue belt, white belt. Kids are doing gray belt and white belt. So it's cool to see the evolution, and I'm ready to take it up another level now. So super fun. It was a great event having my professors. They taught some good stuff, Q&A, so they answered some questions. Some of the stuff they showed is, like side control escape, how I show it, but it was good just for my students to see, like, hey man, this is the escape. Even from a world champion, the escape is the same. You just have to, do it more than once. You have to believe in your technique, and you have to fight for your technique. Move side to side, hip escape and bridge, so you can get that knee in and get that side control back, right? Or get that guard back underneath side control. So that's it. Onward and upward, guys. You know what I mean? I had that goal of becoming a black belt for a long time, for the last 10 years. But even as a kid, I had done some kids program. I was training in New Jersey at like a jiu-jitsu school as a kid. Back then, there wasn't a black belt professor. It was a teacher that was like a black belt in karate, and then his karate school he started to transform to do some jiu-jitsu. So it was nothing like the level that's around today in America. But even then, like I was, buying Brazilian jiu-jitsu books from Barnes & Noble, reading about the belt system of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, thinking, oh man, I gotta get started. It's gonna take 10 years. I better get started. Finally, 20, start training. Not even consistently, just training a bit in college. At least I got on the mat. And then consistent training with a good professor, Mike Merkulik, when I was like 21, 22, something like that. I got my blue belt in New Jersey from Professor Mike Merkulik, amazing friend and teacher, and someone that I'll always cherish. When Professor Mike died, I promised myself I was going to get my black belt no matter what it took. Even if it was going to be 100 years old, I was going to just get my black belt someday. I was going to stay on the path and get to it. Training even as a blue belt, I took a little time off, a couple months off when I moved to LA as a blue belt. Once I started training again, I felt it instantly, especially training at a really good school. White belts putting De La Riva on me and getting swept first day back to training. You persevere and keep training no matter who's beating you in the room. It doesn't matter. It's not about who's the best on any given day. It's about who's left after the years go by. So 10 years later, here I am getting my black belt. Every belt level has been harder. So white belt, I thought, man, I'm going to train so much. I'm going to train 6 a.m.s and at night. I'm going to tap out everyone in this room, black belt, whatever. And I'm going to be so undeniable that I get my blue belt. And that's great. And when you're young, it's easy to just jump on some 40-year-old black belts and think you're good. You know what I mean? But again, this is a sport getting more professional every year. I got to LA. I joined the most competitive room I could find. I went to a couple different places. I was tapping out the instructor. I kept going till I found the best room I could in Highland Park, Total Jiu-Jitsu. And I trained there for a few years. Blue belt, just blue belt 1 year, blue belt the next year, still blue belt the year after that. Getting better. Focus on getting better. It's at that point when I started saying, you know what, fuck the belt. I just got to be better, because I had plenty of friends that were getting their purple belt, brown belt, whatever, while I was just still a blue belt. Still training every day, but maybe not getting belts as fast. Thank God, because I'd rather be a blue belt that could tap out a purple belt than be a brown belt getting tapped out by blue belts, right? So I was a blue belt for, maybe 5 years. Good amount of time. But that's when I started being an assistant coach. That's when I started teaching the kids class. And that's when I probably had the biggest progression of my jiu-jitsu was blue belt into purple belt. I think the biggest gap is really blue belt to purple belt. It's such a difference between people that are blue belts, almost like white belts, and then people that are blue belts consistently tapping out the higher colored belts, making their way toward purple belt. Purple belt, you got to have that guard solid. You got to have all the guards solid. De La Riva, X guard. You got to have real passing, not just jumping on people, not just pushing people. You got to be a real professional level. I had blue belts come train with me recently that they were aggressive. They would jump on people. They were young. They could spaz out, jump on someone, squeeze their face till they tap out. But against anyone, decent level, no defense, barely any guard. Once they train with me for a little while, they learn some guard. God bless. But you don't just train for 3 months, learn 2 things, and get your purple belt, guys. Okay? Any belt that I give out, I could give someone a brown belt tomorrow, but I don't have anyone that's at that level. It takes years to get to that level. Any belt you get, like I'm saying, it's going to be more work. Blue belt, I was like all right, I'll just do more than I did at white belt. So I'm going to train every day, twice a day. So 2 times a day, every day, pro training and normal class. That was to get toward my purple belt. So I did that for a couple of years, 2-a-days. Finally got my purple belt 5 years later or something. Then going into brown belt, I moved to Orange County. I had already moved. I was traveling to LA for training for maybe a year. And I finally said, okay, I'm going to stay right here in Orange County, closer to my babies. I had a newborn baby, my first daughter. I'm going to train at AOJ and get ready to open up my own school. So I went and started training at the best team in the whole world, where the blue belt 16-year-olds will tap you out. And you could either cry about it and quit, or you could figure it out, get better at jiu-jitsu, hold the 16-year-olds off you as long as you can. So that's what I did. I trained at AOJ for just under 2 years. During all of that, COVID happened. I kept drilling every single morning with my training partner from AOJ that just won the Brown Belt World Championships. And before that, he won Purple Belt World Championships, American Nationals, Pan American Championships, and the European Championships. My boy Tom. Training more than I ever trained at Blue Belt when I'm a Purple Belt. With a better, with the number 1 team in the world. No offense to any team that I trained with before AOJ. I love all those guys, but I'm saying, these people are in the world championships. I'm training with people that are fighting for worlds, and they're beating my butt, dude. You know what I mean? Of course they are. Sorry, I'm just pulling into my garage. So I cleaned out my garage. That's always a win, too. I got my garage cleaned out before black belt. That was like, kind of on my to-do list. Like, if I'm a black belt, I should be have a clean garage. I also got a new car. A new SUV. I'm not going to brag about it. I'm not that kind of person, you know what I mean? But I am in a new podcast studio right now. So anywho, purple belt, I trained more than I trained at blue belt. Even when I thought, like, how could I possibly train more? I trained even more. Then, after 2 years plus at purple belt, I got my brown belt right when I opened my academy. So like day 1 of opening Ramble Jiu-Jitsu, my coaches gave me my brown belt. After I got my brown belt, I trained even more than I had trained as a purple belt. I trained 2 classes a day that I taught, plus I taught another 3 classes on top of that. So I'm on the mat minimum 5 classes a day, sometimes 6, sometimes 7. Plus mopping and vacuuming, all the other fun stuff that comes with running an academy, marketing, billing, all that fun stuff, calling people up that owe you money, all that fun stuff. 2 years. So I was doing at least 5 classes a day, 5 days a week. So at least 25 classes a week. Times 4, that's 100 a month. Times 12, that's 1,200 a year. Times 2, that's 2,400 classes taught in the last 2 years as a brown belt. So when I got my black belt, I was super happy. I was full of emotions, speechless, definitely. I didn't have there was no words that could put all of the work into perspective. But just doing that math, explaining it, dude, just 2,400 classes taught in the last 2 years, let alone training, let alone cutting weight to 137 pounds to fight in Pan Am's IBJJF, let alone the studying, let alone watching every single jiu-jitsu tournament, coaching my kids and grown-ups at jiu-jitsu tournaments. Lots of jiu-jitsu at brown belt, more jiu-jitsu than I ever did at purple belt, ever did at blue belt, ever did at white belt. And now I'm a black belt. And my first week as a black belt, extra 20 hours of kids camp on top of my normal teaching, extra 12 hours at the tournament on Saturday. That's the vibe, okay? I'm sure it's going to be more jiu-jitsu than ever, but when you love something, when you love the game like I love jiu-jitsu, it's a good thing. More hours having fun is a good thing. So, thank you guys for listening. I just had to get an episode done. I'm a little rambly today. Again, 7:38 a.m. I just taught. I'm on my way home. I got to drink some more water. My throat is dry, but I'm in high spirits. I'm finally a black belt. my martial arts dream come true. I'm a black belt. And even if I get my arm chopped off, even if I get my knee broken again, I'll be a black belt for the rest of my life. And it's awesome. The hard part is I have to defend that black belt every single day the rest of my life. So it's not like the training ever stops when you get that belt, but it's nice to be promoted and recognized because you really have to make yourself that level before you get the belt. I was treating myself like, dude, I'm a black belt. I'm a professor. I was treating myself like that the last at least year, seeing myself at that level, trying to perform at that level. And then when you're recognized by your boss for that promotion, it's when you really deserve it. So guys, thank you for listening to the Rebel Jiu-Jitsu podcast. Stay updated. We have so much going on this summer, a lot more tournaments. Now that I am a black belt professor, I'm excited to film my first instructional. So just stay tuned. Rebel Jiu-Jitsu Academy on Instagram, Rebel Jiu-Jitsu podcast on Instagram. Follow us there, and I'll see you guys on the mats.